Hello, this is Bill Steffen. Thanks for joining me. What a beautiful evening we had. I was out walking around. We got a nearly full moon up there in the sky. The full moon of July is called the buck moon, and we had a lot of fireflies out. I don't know if you noticed that this year. I've seen more fireflies than I've seen mosquitoes in the rather dry conditions that we have here up in Alpine Township. July 12th, more on that a little bit later on, but let's get into the weather a little bit. Ottawa News Network, thank you so much for joining us today, your affiliate viewers, and pass the word along. If you like what you see here, tell your friends about it and share so that we can bring more people aboard here. All right, let's take a look at something called upwelling that occurred today. If you look at the graphic there from the National Weather Service, what happens is when you have an offshore breeze, the wind blows this warmer surface water out toward the middle of the lake, and you have colder water coming up from underneath. And a good example of that occurred here on Thursday into Friday. Thursday morning, the water temperature at Holland State Park was 72, and the water temperature Friday morning, 24 hours later, was down to 58. And in fact, the person taking the water temperature there said, yikes, it was not real pleasant. But that's what happens now. What's going to happen tomorrow is, or later today, is that the wind's going to pick up out of the southwest. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring the warmer water back to shore. So I don't know if the water temperature is going to change a whole lot during the early morning when they take that water temperature. Often it's the first thing that the state parks do. But as the day goes on, that water is going to warm up. And if you're heading to the beach during the afternoon, I bet the water temperature is warmer than 58. Okay, and that's a picture, by the way, of Holland's beach, and you can see there were not very many people in the water. If you look real close, everybody's kind of up on land or just getting their toes wet, and that's about it. Okay, let's take a look at our forecast for the lake. Southwest winds 10 to 20 knots. Waves will start out about a foot in the morning, but increase to close to 3 feet in the afternoon, so it gets a little choppy. And the wind picks up a little bit during the afternoon, even on land areas. There's all the water temperatures, and all of them have really cooled off. Holland the most there at 58, but it was down to 60 at Ludington, 61 Duck Lake, 63 at Grand Haven. South Haven's water temperature comes from the buoy, and you can see that the water out there didn't cool off. The warmer water was still out there, so it's not that far offshore. 2-3 miles offshore is where the warmer water is. And that shouldn't have any problem getting back to shore here by afternoon. So I don't only forecast the weather, but I forecast water temperatures here as well, I think. Reed's Lake water temperature was at 81. Inland lakes are not big enough to have that big of a change in water temperature or deep enough. Okay, let's move on here, and we'll take a look at the severe weather outlook areas. We had a big batch of severe thunderstorms coming our way here Friday night. Those storms produced wind gusts as high as 90 miles an hour in Iowa. There were several gusts in the 80s or upper 70s to low 80s. And that line fortunately weakened a little bit as it came onshore here. And some of us could use some more rain. We do expect more scattered showers and storms for us here. Storm Prediction Center says scattered damaging winds are possible across northeast Indiana, northwest Ohio, and east Michigan on Saturday. Strong heating will occur ahead of a cold front with upper 60s dew points over Indiana, Ohio, and much of lower Michigan. Convergence within the surface trough will lead to scattered storms along the wind shift line, with a few severe gusts and marginal hail possible. To be severe, a hailstone has to be 1 inch in diameter. So if it's below that, it's not technically severe. Another area where they could see some big storms is in West Texas there. They don't need any more stormy activity there for a while. The dark green is a marginal or level 1 risk, and you can see that extends from Canada and the UP all the way down to Mexico. So broad area right there. Could see an isolated severe wind gust. And then we move ahead to Sunday, and we turn white on the map here, and that indicates no thunderstorms. All the storms will be south and east of West Michigan. You can see, again, just a marginal risk, but Mexico to the Ohio Valley, and then from Virginia northward to northwest Vermont. Okay, we're going to take a little time here and take a look at the 66-hour rainfall map. You can see the yellow color indicating we're over the next 3 days. There'll be about 1.5 inches of rain. Most of the rain falling east of the Rockies. There's not much falling in the Rockies. As you can see, it's dry as a bone across states like Nevada and California. Nevada, by the way, is the driest state in the United States. Average rainfall or average precipitation for the state is about 7 inches over the course of the year. We get about 37 here in Grand Rapids. There'll be some scattered thunderstorms in Florida up the East Coast. And if we zoom into Michigan a little bit here, you'll be able to see that here in Michigan, we've got just a little scattered light rain for us, nothing real heavy. The heaviest rain will be off to our west. If we can take a look at that next map here, and there it is. We're looking at rainfall amounts that are more along the lines of 1/4 to 1/2 inch, but at least everybody gets a little bit here over the next couple, 3 days or so. Okay, now we're going to take time out and thank our sponsors. We want to start out with Complete Care Concierge.
Need a fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service? Complete Care Concierge has you covered. Serving all of West Michigan, we offer one-time, daily, weekly, and bi-weekly cleans, plus move in, move out. We also service apartment hallways and laundry rooms. Our work is guaranteed, gift cards are available, and we even clean on weekends. There's no better way to say I love you than giving a tired mom a break from dishes and laundry. Are you a busy professional? Pamper yourself by taking vacuuming and dusting off your plate. Office manager, keep your business looking and feeling its very best. Call 616-264-1397 today for a spotless space and total peace of mind.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
And thanks to Ace Handyman Services for being one of our sponsors here, helping us out, paying a few bills. For July the 12th, we lose a couple of minutes of daylight. Sunrise now 6:15, sunset at 9:20. Average high and low at 83 and 63, and it stays that way pretty much through the entire month of July. Record high temperature for today was the second warmest day ever in Grand Rapids at 106 degrees. 1936 is when we had that amazing heat wave, and the record low temperature 42 in 1945. Taking a look at our high temperatures here for the day on that should be Friday and not Thursday, but Friday's high temperature almost made 90 at Benton Harbor, Kalamazoo and Battle Creek both at 86. Grand Rapids peaked at 84, and look at how warm it was out at the South Haven Lighthouse, despite the wind coming off the water. Which we think was probably about 75 degrees. They had a high of 80. Howland Beach at 76, though the water was much colder there. And both the Muskegon Beach and the out at the end at the Pier Light out there, both recorded high temperatures of 74 degrees. So very pleasant out there. If you ever hit a 90-degree day, if you want to cool off just a little bit, walk up and down some of the piers. You get some good exercise, and it'll be a little bit cooler there. All right, the tropical update for you comes next, and boy, there is nothing going on. This is really amazing. Western Atlantic, tropical cyclone activity not expected during the next 7 days. Same thing for the Eastern Pacific. And if we take a look at the next slide will show you the Western Pacific Ocean. And look at the dry air over it. Almost the entire continent of Australia saw nothing but sunshine here yesterday once again. Same story for Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and much of southern Africa. Of course, in the southern hemisphere, it's sunny now. No suspect areas in the Indian Ocean. There is one storm that could become a tropical storm and kind of scoot by Japan, but not cause any problems there. Really an amazingly quiet pattern for the entire world, and that's a good thing. We don't like to see a lot of damage from hurricanes. By the way, a typhoon is the same thing as a hurricane. It's just called a different name in the Western Pacific. In the Indian Ocean, they're called cyclones. Australia, sometimes they're called willy willies. And how that got started, it started to be called a whirly because it went around in a circle. And then it became a whirly whirly, and then it became a willy willy. So a little word origin information there for you. I think in the Philippines, it's called something like bagios or something like that. But interesting. All right, let's move on here and take a look at our headlines. Chance of a shower or storm today. Not a sure thing. I've got the chance of rain at about 60 to 70%, though. Dry Sunday afternoon through Tuesday, and then there'll be a chance of a shower or storm again Tuesday night into Wednesday. And we got the full moon right now. I think I mentioned that earlier. The buck moon is the full moon of the month of July. Okay, let's take a look at some temperatures across the area for today. First of all, high temperature at 85, low this morning at 70. And there'll be scattered storms, chance of a storm. Humidity only falls to 65%, so it'll be a little bit on the muggy side. And the winds do pick up a little bit, southwest at 10 to 20 miles an hour. We haven't had very many windy days in July, but we certainly have had quite a few windy days here in the year 2025. Okay, taking a look at some high temperatures across the area here. I have a little friend that is just joining me here. Hi, Kitty. You want to say hi to everybody? I don't have the setup here where they can be on very often. I got my computer in my chair here, and everything else is kind of blocked off. But they come up here and kind of crawl around a little bit. I've got the windows open, and they like watching the fireflies at night, I think. All right, high temperature 85, South Haven 80 for the day today, so it will be a little bit cooler near the lake with that southwest wind. Chicago 86, Detroit makes 91 today, so that's why there's a better chance for severe weather over there. It will get hotter, and that means the air will be a little bit less stable, a little bit more instability over there in the eastern part of the state. And the UP, a very pleasant day with temperatures there in the 70s during the afternoon. Then we move ahead to Sunday, and we show you temperatures cool off just a couple degrees. Grand Rapids 83, South Haven 78. Ludington at the airport may reach 80. Right at the beach, it'll be about 75. And a pretty nice day up across the UP. There'll be some 70s, some low 80s there. Even right along the Lake Michigan shoreline there, temperatures should top 70 degrees. So pretty nice weekend coming up here for us once we chase out the Saturday storms. Okay, the 5-day forecast looks like this: 85, 70% chance of a shower or thunderstorm, not an all-day rain. 30% chance of a shower very early on Sunday. This is for those early risers that head off to church Sunday morning. And the best bet for that would be in the eastern part of the state, not so much here. Warm and dry day on Monday at 86, a hot day on Tuesday. We may wind up going 90 here on Tuesday. And then about a 50-50 chance of a shower or storm here late Tuesday night and during the day on Wednesday. And the 8 to 14 day outlook comes next, and that's back to near normal for us here. No huge bubbles of heat, but there'll be a lot of upper 80s, low 90s here, especially once you get down toward the Houston area. And then we'll take a look at precipitation or rainfall. There's really no snow that falls here on these maps. And you can see two areas of above, which is out in the desert southwest. There'll be some monsoonal moisture getting into Arizona. So an isolated shower or storm there, though they don't usually produce a lot of rain. And there'll be a few scattered showers and storms from New Orleans up to Atlanta and to Washington, D.C., and from there off to the east especially. But much of the country is seeing ample rain. The three areas, the areas that aren't, are here in West Michigan, Ottawa County, Western Kent County, up into Muskegon County. We're pretty shy in terms of rainfall for the summer. Okay, Michelle is working at the airport tonight, as she does, and I want to wish a happy birthday to my mother. Louise Steffen lived to be 100 and a half, and that's a wonderful picture. And she's about 98 years old in that picture. Doesn't she look pretty good? I got some pretty good genes, I guess. And that is a picture of Rosie the cat, who is still with us. That is one of Michelle's two cats. And I don't know if we have new people that join us all the time, but I'll tell you the story about Rosie. My mother always wanted a cat when she was living by herself. My dad had passed away, but she didn't want to step on the cat's tail. She thought that might be dangerous, not only for the cat, but for her. And lo and behold, at the Humane Society, they found a cat without a tail for her. Tail had been run over by a car. The car barely missed the rest of this poor cat. And this was the most wonderful cat. It still is, by the way. It's still alive. Michelle and family taking care of that up in or down in Birmingham, Alabama. But Rosie was a wonderfully affectionate cat that would sit in Mom's lap and would greet her whenever she came back. She'd be running to the door and glad to see her. They just had a swell time together in those final years that my mother had. So we have one more picture, I think, to show you, and that is really cool. That is my parents' marriage, which was July 8th, 1950. I came along exactly 10 months later, so I was legit by a short time. My parents got married a little bit later in life. My mom was 31. My dad was 36 or 37. And, of course, he got delayed by World War II. He was in the Army Air Corps for about 5.5 years, flying all over the place. And my mother, we had a card shower for her. We solicited cards on my blog, and she had literally several hundred cards that were sent to her. And she would pull those cards out and look at it. Every card was looked at 3, 4, 5, 6 times. She really enjoyed that, and felt kind of guilty that she couldn't write everybody back here. But if you know somebody that's a seasoned citizen, you might want to think about sending a card just to cheer them up and let them know that you care. And my mother certainly appreciated that. But she was very happy in her retirement and very healthy. I think in her entire life she had only lost one tooth, and she had very, very good. In fact, she drove a car the day she died. At 100 and a half, she was still driving a car. So pretty amazing. All right, let's move on now and take a look at this. July 12, 1984, this woman, and I know her already, was the first woman to run for vice president on a major ticket. She ran with Walter Mondale, and I remember that was 1984, so that was the second election of Ronald Reagan. He won in a landslide, 49 out of 50 states. The only state he lost was Minnesota. So he carried California and Illinois and all of New England. Reagan did, and Mondale and Reagan were pretty good friends. You didn't find the animosity in politics. Tip O'Neill and Reagan were friends. I remember Daniel Patrick Moynihan and some of the Republicans getting together and going out for a beer and stuff like that. It just was a different time, I guess. Well, let's go on to the next slide here. Do we have anything else? Oh, yes. The Geraldine Ferraro was her name. I believe she was from New York State, if I'm not mistaken. July 12, 1962, this English rock and roll band played their first gig at the Marquee Club in London. Mick Jagger. Now, as soon as you saw the word Mick, I bet you knew who this group was a founding member. I Can't Get No Satisfaction was their first international hit. And this was, of course, the Rolling Stones. And don't you wonder why Mick Jagger is still alive with everything that he's done in his life? But he's still going strong. Some of those people, I guess it's the exercise they get being up on stage. We had talked before about Mike Love of the Beach Boys being 83, and he's still touring and still belting out all of those Beach Boys songs. All right, let's go on to the next one here. And those are the Rolling Stones, the original Rolling Stones, with Mick Jagger in the backyard. They're in the background. They're looking pretty young, pretty amazing. But quite a group, and they have really had a long run. Okay, what else we got here? I think we have some more pictures to share with you here. This one, the Medal of Honor, July 12, 1862, in the midst of the Civil War. A bill was signed by Abraham Lincoln to award enlisted men who showed gallantry in action in the in the Civil War. First awarded to participants of the Great Locomotive Chase, a military raid in the Civil War. Today, it is the highest military award for valor in combat or conflict. So you can see they have different medals for the Army, the Air Force, the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. So very interesting. Okay, up next, July 12, 2022, Miss American and Miss Michigan, Pamela Eldred Robbins, died at age 74. She was Miss America in 1970. How many Miss Michigans have won Miss America since the pageant began in 1921? Okay, I know one because I did an event with her. It was Kay Lonnie Lynn Raffco, who was from over in Detroit area. If I'm not mistaken, Monroe is where she was from. And we did an event together. There was also Nancy Fleming, and Nancy Fleming was married to Jim Lang, who was the host of The Dating Game on TV. If you're my age, you remember The Dating Game. There's old tape that was Tom Selleck was on The Dating Game. He was one of the bachelors that they had compete in that thing. And Jim Lang was an Evans Scholar. I was an Evans Scholar. They award about 200 Evans Scholarships. In fact, I think it's about 250 right now. Evans Scholarships nationwide, and I happened to get one of those, and Jim Lang happened to get one of those. He went to Minnesota. I went to Wisconsin. So that's a little trivia that's there. But we'll guess 3 or 4 Miss Michigans have become Miss America. And let's see what the answer is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. Patricia Donnelly, the first one. Nancy Fleming, who I think is still alive, if I'm not mistaken, though Jim Lang has passed away. Nancy Fleming was 1961. Pam Eldred in 1970. And Kay Lonnie Ray Raffco. She did her talent was South Seas dancing. She did hulas and Tahitian dancing and all that. It was really very, very interesting. And I had a delightful time with her. We just did a great job. We were in, I believe, North Muskegon. Oh, and Nancy Fleming, I think, was from Montague. Maybe she rode the pumpkins down Dowling Street. I don't know. But Kaylani Ray Raffco and I did an event together, and we just had a delightful time. I think we were in a parade, or did the play-by-play for a parade or something like that. There was a big event in North Muskegon. And Kirsten Haglund was recent. That was 2008. So 5 Miss Michigans have gone on to do Miss America. I have done events with Miss Michigan before, at least several of them, and they have all been wonderful. Very, very, very pleasant. Okay, let's see what we have next on there. Do you remember this? Who remembers this? The Etch-a-Sketch was sold on July 12, 1960. It cost $2.99 or $32 in today's dollars. Yes, I remember those. We had one. My sister would have been 1 year old at the time, so in 1960. But I remember we had one there. My brother would have been 6, maybe. So maybe he was the one that played with it. But I remember doing that. You had to twist the dials and, move the graphite around or whatever was inside it. So interesting. And now we have some pictures. Now we have one more. This is from Alex, I believe, July 12th. In history, Henry VIII married Catherine Parr in his 6th marriage. Yeah, it was a running race between Henry VIII and Elizabeth Taylor. And, 1862, First Medal of Honor authorized by Congress. And birthdays today, Julius Caesar, 100 BC. Do we really know for sure that he was born in 100 BC? And maybe we do. Interesting. Henry David Thoreau, you're familiar with him. I probably read his work in high school. Louis B. Mayer of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer out in Hollywood. And Oscar Hammerstein. Remember all the wonderful musicals that Rodgers and Hammerstein did? He was born on this date in 1895. So 4 very prominent historical figures born on July the 12th, along with my mother. Okay, we got some pictures to show you here. This one from Randy, a shipwreck located on Lake Superior east of Grand Marais. That's an area that's rather sparsely populated there along the shoreline. A lot of that shoreline is still forested area. And this shipwreck held up very well, didn't it? I mean, the boards are still there, and you can see the spikes coming out of the boards. Many, many shipwrecks have occurred in the Great Lakes, and especially Lake Superior. Weather can change on a dime. Here you get those squalls that come up, and they sometimes in the past tried to push the sailing season when they probably should have quit while they were ahead in the fall and started a couple weeks later during the springtime of the year. But interesting. Randy, thanks so much for the picture. And we have another picture to share with you here from John Doherty. This is kind of an interesting picture. Now, cameras can do interesting things, but assuming that the sky was about that color, you can see the sparkles on the water. So you've got some shimmering, some glistening going on there. So the sun is certainly shining through what looks like a dim layer of cirrus clouds, that uniform color. And of course, the water reflects the color of the sky. So if the water is pink or if the sky is pink and orange at sunset, the water's going to look that way too. If we have nothing but a blue sky, then the water's going to look blue. So that's interesting. But we thank John so much. And we have a picture from the other John too, John Scully. This is some thunderstorms, and I think you're facing maybe east-southeast or something like that, thunderstorms that occurred over land. And it's really interesting how you get a thunderstorm forming at a specific spot, and there aren't even any clouds around the thunderstorm per se. You can see the anvil top from far away. We were tracking thunderstorm anvils here these past couple of weeks that were 60 to 90 miles away from where the picture was taken. So that's interesting. And waves not too terribly high in that picture there, but just a beautiful Michigan Chamber of Commerce day. So we like that. Thank you, John, for that picture. Well, I think we've reached the end of our journey, and we're back to the winter coat, I see. We had one day, I'm going to have to see if I can change that out here, because I'm the one that kind of puts my slides together here, and then Michelle adds hers. But I want to read what we wrote down here. Help my channel to grow. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's Bill Steffen 616. And I'm also at BillSteffen.com. Did an update on the upwelling, and also one on the severe weather threat here this Saturday too. So you can check those out at BillSteffen.com. Have yourself an awesome Saturday, a great weekend, and thanks for spending some time with me.